Look at you. You are living in the terrifying safety of the modern world. You sleep on memory foam. You have a device in your pocket that summons food to your door in 20 minutes. You have climate control that keeps your environment at a perfect 72 degrees. You are living in the paradise that your ancestors died to build. And yet, you are miserable. You are anxious. You are fragile. You are soft. When the Wi-Fi slows down for 10 seconds, you feel a spike of genuine rage. When the barista gets your order wrong, it ruins your morning. When the air conditioning is 2 degrees too cold, you feel unsafe. We are currently living through a comfort crisis. History has played a cruel joke on us. We have conquered the external world. We have killed the tigers. We have cured the plagues, and we have banished the dark. But in doing so, we have atrophied the internal muscle that makes us human. We have lost the ability to suffer. Think about your average day. From the moment you wake up to the moment you close your eyes, your entire existence is engineered to avoid friction. You wake up to a heated room. You drive a car with heated seats. You work in an office where the hardest physical task is typing on a keyboard. You return home to an entertainment system that delivers dopamine on demand. You are swimming in a warm bath of convenience. And this is why you are depressed. The human brain was not designed for paradise. It was designed for the hunt. It was designed for the long winter. It was designed for struggle. When you remove the struggle, the brain begins to eat itself. Without a real enemy, your mind invents one. It turns a rude email into a catastrophe. It turns a traffic jam into a tragedy. It turns a social media comment into a personal assault. Your threshold for pain has dropped so low that existence itself has become painful. You have become the glass man we spoke of before, transparent, easily broken, and terrified of the slightest impact. You think comfort is the goal of life. You think that if you can just make enough money to remove every inconvenience, you will finally be happy. The Dark Mentor is here to tell you the truth. Comfort is not a reward. Comfort is a cage. Comfort is the slow-acting poison that is dissolving your will. To escape this trap, we must look to a culture that understood that suffering is not an error in the system. It is the system. We must look to the ashes of 1945. In August 1945, the sun fell on Japan. 2 atomic bombs. Fire raids that turned wooden cities into charcoal. The empire was not just defeated, it was erased. Imagine the scene. A man stands in the ruins of Tokyo. His home is gone. His family is gone. The government has collapsed. There is no food. There is no electricity. There is only the smell of burning and the sound of the American jeeps patrolling the streets. This was not just a military defeat. This was the total annihilation of a way of life. In any other culture, this would be the moment of chaos. This would be the time for looting, for riots, for the tearing of flesh. Civilization is usually just 3 meals away from anarchy. But in Tokyo, there was silence. Observers from the West were terrified by what they saw. They saw starving men waiting in line for hours for a cup of rice. No one pushed, no one stole, no one complained. They simply waited. This is the power of Gaman. Gaman is a word that does not translate easily into English. You might call it perseverance or patience, but those words are too weak. They are too soft. Gaman means enduring the unbearable with patience and dignity. It is not just putting up with it. It is an active state of high-status endurance. It implies self-denial, solidarity, and a refusal to let the external chaos destroy your internal order. The Japanese viewed their suffering not as a punishment, but as a duty. To complain about the hunger was shameful. To cry about the cold was a waste of energy. They took the suffering, swallowed it, and used it as fuel to lay the bricks of the new world. Consider the Shinkansen, the bullet train. Just 19 years after the surrender, Japan unveiled the fastest train in the world. Think about that. In less than 2 decades, they went from nuclear ash to high-speed rail. That economic miracle was not built on innovation. It was built on Gaman. It was built on the backs of men who worked 16-hour days without complaint. It was built on the silence of women who held families together with nothing but rice and will. They understood that the only way out of hell is to walk through it. Now look back at yourself. You fall apart when your Uber Eats is late. You have lost the spirit of Gaman. You have become a slave to your own comfort impulses. But the good news is this. Gaman is a muscle. It can be trained. You do not need a war to build it. You do not need to lose everything. You simply need to declare war on your own comfort. You need a protocol. How do we reclaim our dignity in a world of soft pillows? We do it through voluntary hardship. We must inject small doses of calculated suffering into our day. We are going to vaccinate your soul against weakness. Here is the micro-suffering protocol. 3 daily practices to rebuild the Gaman spirit. Protocol 1, the cold forge. Every morning, you shower. You stand under the warm water, half asleep, seeking comfort before the day begins. Tomorrow, you will turn the handle all the way to the cold. Do not inch your way in. Step directly into the ice. Your body will scream, your breath will catch, your mind will beg you to turn it off. This is the moment of truth. This is the flinch. Your primitive brain thinks you are dying. It is screaming, hypothermia, danger. But you know the truth. You are safe. Gaman is staying under the water. Do not tense up. Do not hyperventilate. Force your breathing to slow down. Look the cold in the eye and tell it that you are the master of this house. 2 minutes, every single day. You are training your nervous system to detach from the shock. If you can handle the ice, you can handle the rude email. If you can handle the freeze, you can handle the fire. Protocol 2, the hollow belly. We live in an era of constant feeding. You have never been truly hungry. You feel a slight pang in your stomach, and you immediately silence it with sugar. You treat hunger like an emergency. You must learn to make friends with the hunger. Practice intermittent fasting. Do not eat for 16 hours. When the hunger comes at 11 a.m., do not fix it. Sit with it. Observe it. That gnawing feeling in your belly is not death. It is clarity. The Ronin knows that a full stomach makes a dull sword. Hunger sharpens the senses. Hunger wakes up the hunter inside you. Tell your body, we will eat when I say we eat, not when you demand it. Protocol 3, the swallow, the art of silence. This is the hardest practice of all. We live in a culture of complaint. We bond over our misery. We post about our inconveniences. We think that venting is healthy. We think that letting it out is therapy. The dark mentor tells you otherwise. Venting is leaking. For the next 24 hours, you are forbidden from complaining. When it rains on your wedding day, Gaman. When the traffic makes you late, Gaman. When your boss disrespects you, Gaman. Feel the urge to complain rising in your throat like vomit, and then swallow it. Do not let it out. Do not vent to your friend. Do not tweet about it. Keep that energy inside. This is the alchemical process. You are taking the poison of the situation and digesting it. When you refuse to complain, you keep the power. When you complain, you leak your power like a cracked vessel. You are telling the world that it has the power to hurt you. Stop giving the world that satisfaction. The world is going to get softer. The metaverse is coming to wrap you in a digital womb. The algorithms are coming to chew your food for you. They want you weak. They want you dependent. You have a choice. You can slide into the warm bath of mediocrity, becoming a soft, anxious, fragile ghost. Or you can choose the path of the Ronin. You can choose the cold. You can choose the hunger. You can choose the silence. Endure the unbearable. Bear the weight that crushes others. This is Gaman. This is the way.